Welcome back to the channel. It's the Fantasy Football Strategist here. In today's video, we will be discussing players that either played well or made splash plays in the first week of the preseason that we will be rostering on our fantasy teams in 2024 fantasy football. Also, as a side note, I will be releasing rankings videos for quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends for the 2024 fantasy season this week, so stay tuned for those. Please like and subscribe. Let's get into it. So the first player that we are going to be discussing is Washington Commanders quarterback Jayden Daniels. So he started off the game by missing an easy screen pass by over 5 yards. This was one of the concerns if you watched my quarterback video earlier this week, where the simple throws he's just, for whatever reason, unable to make. But then, to his credit, he followed it up by throwing a beautiful ball on third down for 42 yards down the sideline to the right side of the field to De'Ami Brown. It was perfect. So he makes the difficult throws very deep down the field look easy. He has one of, if not the best deep balls in the class. Then he followed it up in the pistol formation on that drive with an easy walk-in touchdown on a zone read. So essentially everything we thought about Jayden Daniels in terms of his play style and his strengths and weaknesses showed themselves in his first week of action. Overall, very, very impressive. He can work on the easy passes. It's much harder to become good at the deep ball, for instance, and you're just not going to just gain a lot of athleticism all of a sudden. So assuming his offensive line can hold up for him, it's looking really, really good so far. The next player that we are going to be discussing is rookie quarterback Caleb Williams of the Chicago Bears. The first play that we're going to be talking about is it was a 3rd and 12, and he threw a strike to DJ Moore in between tight zone coverage that was just with absolute precision. He displayed good pocket presence, stepped up, and it was a magnificent throw. Then later, he threw an underhanded lob around a defender to DeAndre Swift for a 42-yard gain. And the arm angle and just general intelligence and ability to find a way to get Swift the ball was absolutely remarkable. Then he did a PA boot to the right side of the field, and while on the run with the defender coming up to him, he was able to throw a strike to Cole Kmet for 26 yards. It was absolutely perfect. Then on third down, after buying some time, he saw that the middle of the field was completely open, and he took advantage of the man coverage that was being run and scrambled for 13 yards to convert and extend the drive. So it's exactly what we saw from Williams in college, and it's very good that he didn't really seem to try to force plays that weren't there. That was one of the concerns that we had this past season when he was playing hero ball. But once again, some people think that it was just because he regressed as a quarterback. I think this game really does go on to show that he knew that if he didn't do everything imaginable, USC was going to lose every single game. And so that's where I think some of the bad habits kicked in. Fortunately for him, the Bears are not going to have as bad of a defense relatively compared to the NFL as USC did in the NCAA this past season. So I do think that all of those negatives, for the most part, are really going to be non-existent for him in his NFL career. And finally, on 3rd down and 9, right around the goal line, it was maybe 15 yards out or so. He was buying some time and trying to find a play. He displayed really good pocket presence. He ended up throwing the ball away. He was trying to see if he could get Rome Odunze in the back of the end zone, but didn't throw it inbounds. Really, while obviously you would prefer a completion, it's really good because he did not force anything that wasn't there, and that was one of the general concerns we had with Caleb Williams. It wasn't excessive to the point where you would really, really worry about it on his film, but really today it was nothing but positives for him. He didn't end up with a touchdown or anything. They did settle for 2 field goals on the drives in which he played, but there were explosive plays throughout the entire 2 drives. He was converting third downs, displayed magnificent pocket presence, and once again, he didn't force anything. So overall, it was an absolutely wonderful preseason debut for Caleb Williams. The next player that we're going to be discussing is Dolphins rookie running back Jaylen Wright. I just did a video on him yesterday, as a matter of fact. He's one of those running backs where he is only one injury away from massive production for you in fantasy football drafts. He's also a very relatively good ADP choice in your redraft leagues. But he ran in for a touchdown. It was about 5 yards out or so. It was wide open, but he picked the right hole and ran in untouched, so he took what was given to him. I mean, nothing incredibly impressive, but he made the right read in the hole. Then later, they did this motion where they put him outside, where they motioned him to the right side of the field, and the pass was technically behind him. He did bobble the ball at first, but he did manage to hold on to it. Then he made a run around to the complete other side of the defense and had the speed to beat the defenders to the edge. Now, this is in the NFL. We already knew that he was fast and that he could do this in college, but it's very good to see that against NFL-level competition, he was able to do that. He ended up getting 14 yards off of it. He was unable to corral his only target, but overall, the 10 carries for 55 yards and a touchdown was a very impressive outing for his first game especially. The next two players that we're going to be discussing are CJ Stroud and Tank Dell. I won't be wasting too much time on this because we already know that they're good players. So Tank Dell was running a post route on the left side of the field. He beat the linebacker, ran right behind him, caught a post route from CJ Stroud, then zigged around two defenders and actually broke two tackles because they both were able to put hands on him for a touchdown though. So the positive note about this is we know that Tank Dell broke his leg this past season, so he still looked like the same old player, and he looked really tough on that route. So it was really nice to see, and that special connection that they had this past season was still there. We should expect nothing but greatness from this offense in 2024. The only potential issue is, not for CJ Stroud, he's set, but for the wide receivers, maybe the target competition is going to be a little bit high, so we'll have to see how this plays out this season. The final set of players that we're going to be discussing are Jordan Love and Dontayvion Wicks. I've been saying it, and so have many other people. Dontayvion Wicks is a very popular breakout candidate, and he looked really, really good. So he was on the right side of the field in the slot. He ran a slot fade down the sideline. Jordan Love hit him with perfect accuracy, and he smoked the cornerback for an easy touchdown of 65 yards. So it looks as though the Jordan Love that we saw in the latter half of this past season, at least through one drive admittedly, is exactly what we're going to potentially be having in 2024. So I really do like both of these players, and I think that people should stop sleeping on Dontayvion Wicks. This guy has absolute positional versatility. He looked really good on that one play at least, so we'll have to see about the Packers room and how the target share works itself out among them, but at least in this first week, Dontayvion Wicks looks really good. So these were the players that either made splash plays or just generally played well in the preseason. We talked about Caleb Williams. He looked marvelous, multiple splash plays, amazing pocket awareness, good decision making. Jayden Daniels, he did miss an easy layup throw, but made a beautiful strike on a 40-yard gain to Dyami Brown. Then masterfully ran a read zone option for an easy walk-in touchdown. Everything we thought about his tape coming in, he displayed. Then we saw Jaylen Wright. He looked explosive. He walked in for an easy touchdown, but to his credit, read the lane correctly. Then he ran all the way around the defense on a play in which he was motioned out to the right, then kind of bobbled the ball, but had the speed to beat all defenders to the other side of the field. Overall, 10 carries for 55 yards, very impressive. Then we saw Tank Dell and CJ Stroud connect on a post route where Tank Dell broke two tackles for a touchdown. All in all of these players played amazingly, and we should be excited to have any one of them on our fantasy teams in 2024 fantasy football. With that being said, I'm the Fantasy Football Strategist, your NFL breaking news source, and the dynasty and redraft implications behind said breaking news. I'm building a library of information with which you can use to dominate your fantasy football leagues in 2024 and beyond. Please remember to like and subscribe. It would mean the absolute world to me. Thank you and have a good day.